Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome along. Inspire and be inspired. It is our weekly motivational conversation. And definitely we're going to have some life hacks for you today. If it's the first time you have to be passing by, then my name is Andy Ward and it's a pleasure to have your company. I can see we already have two of our friends joining us live. So please feel free to leave a comment. Let me know you're there. And I will also ask all of our friends who come back and check out the recordings to leave any comments or leave any questions as well for my guest today, because she will be more than happy to answer them afterwards. I can see through the corner of my eye, Sophia Bailey-Larsen is actually waving to you on the screen, but you can't actually see her yet because I need to press this screen and bring her on. And now we are both together on the screen. Sophia, good afternoon. How are you?
Really well. Thanks, Andy. Thank you for having me today. And just a little addition, I also can't see them on the screen. So if I miss anything, I'll be reading it later. I'm sure you'll be telling me about that.
When we begin, it's always slightly delayed for people commenting and saying good evening and so on and so forth. So it may take a little while for people to make themselves known. As I say that, actually, I got to say hi to Lisa and hi to Emily, who's complimenting me on the camera tonight. Good evening. Thank you very much.
Very nice.
I'm very happy with the new setup. I'll talk about that towards the end of the show. Last week, we got into quite a deep conversation and I neglected to talk about it because it seemed rather insignificant. But tonight, we're going to have a slightly more light-hearted conversation and an extremely positive conversation with my esteemed guest, Sophia. Now, for some reason, I'm doubting myself. I am pronouncing that correct. It is Sophia, right?
It's Sophia. You're one of the only to pronounce it the right way the first time. You're doing that. You're doing great.
Wonderful.
It's not Sophie. It's not Sophia. It's Sophia.
Sophia. Wonderful. Thank you. Tonight's topic of conversation is avoiding procrastination. It's a little bit of a... what's the word I'm looking for? We were trying to steal some headlines with that title because we're going to be talking about a hell of a lot of different subjects. Clickbait, that's the word I was looking for. It's a bit of a clickbait title. But you have many topics that you are very, very well qualified to talk about. So rather than me reel off your bio in a very unnatural way, why don't you introduce yourself and let us know who you are and what you're all about?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Sophia Bailey-Larsen, and I'm from London. You might tell by the accent, depending on where you are. But I live in Spain, like Andy, and we met over here. So I started off in London in a way that some of you may be familiar with. I was a single mother there. I had two daughters there. And because I was single with two daughters, it really put me into a life where I felt very compelled to do things that I didn't want to do to be able to raise them. And I came into my current line of work because of that, because of the pushing and the striving and the opportunities and the wondering, what else was out there and what else could I learn. I came across a book called Think and Grow Rich along my travels, and it taught about steps to riches, 13 steps to riches, 13 steps to getting the actual life that you want. Fast track down the line, I'm actually a trainer of that work. But between there and here, I definitely encountered procrastination. I definitely encountered like that self-doubt and doubting myself and not quite knowing what to do. But I understood that when you do things in a certain way, there are certain laws that if you follow them, whether you knowingly do it or not, that you begin to get more of what you want from life. So who I am now, for those of you new to me, I'm a certified Think and Grow Rich trainer. That's a book that was written by Napoleon Hill, and we'll get on to that later. I am foremost a housewife and mum, so you may see the hubby and the son walk past. My little boy is quite young. I don't know if you know this, Andy, but my little boy is only 4. But because I was that teenage mother, my older children are 26 and 30 now. Right. So I've had quite the journey between having those children. And now my life goal is really about sharing the principles that I've learned and applied with other people, so they don't have to really struggle as hard and as much with the things that I had to encounter. This is all part of my journey.
Wonderful.
All of these
Well,
talks, all these
talking
things.
of your journey,
It's
before
not
we
quite the bio intro, but this is who I am, Andy.
that is perfect.
Yeah.
Most people who watch this will be more than aware. I like to try and make this as natural as possible. I don't like to make it forced. That comes from the many years of me interviewing people on the radio, and you have a set list of questions that you ask. It just feels very unnatural to me now. There's no ulterior motive to this. It's just, honest, transparent conversation. So before we get fully into this evening, let's highlight again how you and I met and how you and I got talking. I was asked to DJ on a boat party at the height of the summer with Mikey for Suella and the Big Reds Animal Charity. Now, I'm not sure if you know Suella or you just saw the boat party advertised and you thought, I like the sound of that. Is that what happened?
That's what happened. Yeah, I heard about the music and I wanted to be there even if I came alone. And ended up dragging my husband along, and we had the best night. You were amazing. The way you interacted with the crowd as well as the music, of course. But yeah, I felt at home on that boat.
Was good.
It was brilliant.
There was definitely something that aligned the two of us. Very positive people. I don't even recall on the evening I was driving. I wasn't drinking, but at some point we engaged in a conversation, and then maybe you would have followed me on Facebook or something, and that would have begin a little more interaction. I invited you along to come and see me in Cabaret, so on and so forth. I told you about the vocal booth, until eventually now we communicate a lot more, and it's my pleasure to get to know you that little bit better on here. I try to make this as interactive as I can. I can see I have a lot of people watching live again, so I will say, as it's taken a little while for them to join, good evening, everybody. Hi to Lynn, Lynn was my guest last week. Also to Pugs and to Jane. Two Janes, actually, Jane Harrington and Janie Bean. I've got loads of screens here. I'm looking at your people's names there. I'm actually looking at Sophia on the screen in front of me, so I can see her reaction of her face, where really I should be addressing her like this. But if I do that, then I can't see her face.
Got it. No worries.
Right. Okay. So that I just felt that I wanted to repackage how everything's going down here. And I feel nice and relaxed, and I'm happy for you to impart your wisdom upon us. So what's the first thing that you feel people need to consider, or that you want to try and drill home to people? Because this is all about making a better life for themselves, right?
One of the things, so can you ask, because I'm not sure how many of the audience and how many of the people watching know about personal development. I think you have a personal development crowd, or know about Think and Grow Rich and know about Napoleon Hill, because otherwise I'll tell you. And if not,
we'll just let's pretend we're talking to people who have no clue whatsoever. For many years I've shared information about the book. People have purchased the book after my recommendations. I mean, I've known about the book for 22 years now. That's when I was first turned on to it. If it comes up in conversation, I'll explain why, but it's not important. So most of these people know life coaches, they're very positive thinking, but please do, tell whatever it is that you want to tell.
So at this very difficult time in my life, as I was saying before, I was an accountant and I really absolutely hated my job. I was doing the job because I wanted to make money, obviously, for the kids, but I felt guilty all the time because I wanted to be with my kids. And when I was with my kids, I thought I should be working on a business or trying to do something so I wouldn't have to work. And I was just in this place all the time that was just a challenge. No matter where I was, it was a challenge. It just felt stiff. And then I heard about a personal development seminar. And this was also many years ago, maybe 10 years ago, in Brixton, which is in South London. So I went over to this personal development seminar where they asked questions about your life to be able to figure out what it was that you want, what wasn't working, and how you could actually move forward with more of what you want from life. So sitting in this hall with, like 50 other people, they began to ask us about what wasn't working. And for me, immediately, I felt that, okay, I'm just too busy. There's so much going on. I'm constantly overwhelmed. I'm not getting anything done at all. And that makes me upset. But drilling deeper into it, I realized that it was my work life. I felt that if I just had the courage, if I could just make a decision to leave my job, then I would be moving forward towards more of the things that I want. If I had the courage and I really believed in myself that I could do this, that I could run a business and I could be with my children, then I would do it. And so I wrote that down. And we delved into what wasn't actually working about that. I realized what was missing for me was just that courage to take action. It's actually really, really common to just want something so much, but still be so fearful that you don't take action. And I guess this is partly what procrastination is. But at the end of the exercise, in that seminar, we were asked who would like to share your story. Do you know, like, public speaking is one of the biggest fears. People fear it sometimes more than dying, right? They hate to. And in those days, I didn't want to speak in front of anyone. I couldn't speak in front of anyone. If I did, I would shake. And so I was like everybody else in the room that just hid their face and was like, all right, I'm not going to be the one to share my story. Except in this instance, I was at the front of the room. And so I was very visible to the person that was at the front of the room. And looking at my page, looking at all the things that I've just said to myself about what it is that I want to do with my life. And I'm looking at, you would do it if you had courage. And you said in this page, you said like 3 minutes ago that you're going to actually do this thing. And you're sitting here hiding, looking at this, I'm going to have courage and I'm going to act on my decisions. So I put my hand up, hoping it wasn't going to be me that was picked, but I put my hand up without looking and heard them call my name. Like, Sophia, have you got something that you would like to say? You come up, and realized I was the only one that put my hand up. The only one. Quite normal. Okay. Going up to the front of the room, I was able to say that, my name is Sophia, and what is holding me back right now is that I don't have courage. I want to leave my job, and I'm going to make a decision to do this. In the next 3 months, I'm going to do it. I'm going to put down the money, and things are going to be right in my life. Just the act of making that decision, just the act of doing it felt like a weight had lifted, even before I put any of the action into it. And it was actually the next day that I left my job, just supernaturally. I'll tell you about it later. Left my job the next day, instead of in 3 months, was offered redundancy pay, 3 months redundancy pay by my boss. Left forever. But I always wondered about, in the decision, what is it? What kind of energy was it that came over me? What was it that is now motivating me? So when I came to read Think and Grow Rich, years later, after that, now I'm in marketing, now I'm doing sales, now I'm using this principle all the time, like just raise your hand anyway, make a decision that the things that is going to lead you to where you want to go, just do those. Think about what they are and do those things. It might be scary, but you're going to figure it out, because there's something out there that when you make a strong decision that's aligned with your purpose, it's actually leading you towards it. And then, so I will tell you, this book came across my path when I was now out of accountancy and doing marketing, network marketing. In the network marketing, direct sales industry, if you've ever had someone sell something and get a commission and then want to tell their friends and all that kind of stuff, right? I was in that kind of place. And all these millionaires, people that were on the stage, were swearing by this book, Think and Grow Rich. And what they said is, this book has the secret to getting things done, getting the thing that you want out of life. And I had a pretty good life, but I didn't have a millionaire lifestyle at that time. So they said, look, on average, millionaires have read this book at least 14 times over. You have to read it, and not only read it, but you have to study it, and then you have to apply it for you to get these changes. And so I decided to do that. And Andy, I did that for 15 months. I did nothing but read that book. I took time out. I was just like, right, I'm getting it. Made another decision. I'm getting it. I'm going to do this. And that's when I really understood that he had outlined everything. So the basis of this book, Think and Grow Rich, actually, I'll show you a copy. Show you what it's all about. I took the liberty of getting the books out ready, Andy, even though you told me not to.
I've got a paperback and I've got a hardback, two different copies.
All right. So what this guy did a very, very long time ago, he interviewed 500 of the wealthiest men and women in the world at that time to find out what they had in common as rich people. It took him 20 years because he went back and forth between all these people. You know, it maybe go out and find out from you, Andy, like, oh, he was really organized and planned, as everybody else got this as a trait, this sense of organization. Okay, they have. That's one of the things they've all got in common. And he went through and did all of those and came up with Laws of Success, this book. And he had 17 of these laws of success. Look at the size of the book.
Okay. I haven't got that book.
Look at the size of the print. No one's got time to read all of that. That's crazy. And so nobody really wanted to publish this book because it wasn't going to be the one that makes the publishers rich and famous. He was asked to condense it. So he did so into this book, Think and Grow Rich, which has now 13 steps to riches. And one of them ties into what we're doing is the step called decision. He found that of those 500 people, that all of them would make a decision very quickly, and they wouldn't change their minds. If at all, they would change their minds very slowly. And this was like 2% of successful people. Whereas when he tried to apply this and the other principles that are in this book, he realized that out of the other 25,000 people that he helped to apply this book, most of them didn't think like this. 25,000 people were classed as failures. They just couldn't get the thing that they want. No matter how they tried, they were doing all the things that weren't to do with this. And he wrote this one, Outwitting the Devil, which is about overcoming this sense of just being a failure, of not owning your own mind, of not knowing how to do things. And that was what you saw me post about, was this book, Outwitting the Devil. It came after Think and Grow Rich, but it was about how hard it is to do this. So the key to owning your own life, as a combination of all these, the overwhelming key that everyone needs to do is just to know what you want. It sounds easy, but for the majority, for 98% of people, it's not easy. It's not easy just to define what you want.
Can I just say there, forgive me for interrupting you. I do not want to interrupt your train of thought. I'm fairly certain you'll be able to come back to where you were. Jane says she's never heard of the book, but she wants it. If I may, yes. I want it to be mainly your voice, but it's something quite important. I want to have input into this conversation. You talk about network marketing. I will share a story about how I also got into network marketing. That's a conversation I'm going to have actually in a few weeks with another friend of ours about the misconceptions of multi-level marketing. And it was through that I discovered Think and Grow Rich. It was through that I went to a lot of these. I learned about PMA. I learned about, positive mental attitude. And, just about changing your outlook. I was a very, very young lad. And I will say that over the last 20 years, every time I've picked up Think and Grow Rich, I've been inspired. Something has come to me. And off the back of that, I've either gotten myself onto DJ agencies, I've got residencies at some of the biggest clubs in the world. I started up an event in Spain that's running really well that everybody knows about. So Think and Grow Rich, I owe so much to that book. I've done a lot of thinking. I'm yet to get rich, but that's a different topic. That's a different.
If it's what you want, topic. It's coming.
Well, as it happens, and I get shot down in flames by another friend of mine who is a life coach, because for me, getting rich isn't really an important factor in my life. I'm wealthy beyond my wildest dreams. But again, I don't want this to be my voice. I want it to be yours. So Jane, get the book. I implore you. It's incredible. Sorry, Sophia.
I love what you said there though, Andy, about, this thing about getting rich, because often when I'm interviewed, or often when people hear about Think and Grow Rich, they really focus mainly on the money. Riches for most of us means money, but there are so many ways to define your riches. I mean, there are people with billions or millions that aren't happy. They don't have love, they don't have friendship, they don't even have inner peace. And for them, that's the riches that they want. They might not have health, something you can't buy with money. So riches is really it's really a personal thing. Success is really a personal thing, because it doesn't say the science of making money. It's about what riches means to you. Mm-hmm. And there's another book, Jane, it's called, hey, why have I forgotten the book? Gonna come back to you. I think it's the Science of Getting Rich, actually. The Science of Getting Rich. They say that success is the progression of a worthy ideal. That's what like it is to be rich or to have success. So it means that the thing that you think is your ultimate goal, that picture of my ideal day and my ideal life and all of those things coming together, like who's in my life, who I'm able to give money to, if that's what I want to do, what I want to buy in my house, the progression towards that. If you're doing something small daily, that's to be rich. That's to be successful. I mean, look at all them records, man. That's someone's dream. It's my dream. I'd love to have that wall. Oh my gosh.
Well, that's it. I am
lost an AirPod.
Okay, no problem. I am living that dream, but let's not focus on that. I'll say good evening to Mr. Willow. Hi. Also to Francis. How are you? Big man boy. Yes. Amy Tate passes through. Good evening, Amy. Lots of pearls of wisdom. Sophia, Amy is a very dear friend of ours. A young girl at the beginning of her journey. She wants to make it as a live streamer. Maybe she will learn a hell of a lot from yourself. So Amy, do listen. Pugwash says good health is the greatest definition of rich. I was listening to an interview earlier with Damon Dash, actually, from Rockefeller Records on the Diary of a CEO podcast. And, he was talking about when things aren't going your way, if you've got all the money in the world, you'd happily trade it in for not being ill, not being incarcerated, not having someone close to you pass away,
Definitely, because Andy, what I didn't mention at the time when I walked away from one network marketing company because I heard about this book and the advice of these millionaires. At that time, I was a six-figure earner. I walked away from six figures to understand this real power because I wasn't happy. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I wanted to be happy more than I wanted to be tired and rich. I was really tired making money. So, I've seen it in my life and I've seen it in many other people's lives that there's always more. You just got to decide what that is to you and decide that it's worthy of going after. Mm-hmm. So this kind of ties back into the procrastination thing.
Well, let's just say you've obviously shown that you've got a wealth of knowledge that people can reach out and speak to you more at length about this through your website. I'll just let people know now. sophiabailey.co.uk is the website, right? So people can check that out.
Thanks, Andy. Please, even easier, if they want to, my Facebook page is the Sophia Bailey Wisdom on Wealth. So they can just quickly head over there. I post there more often, probably, than my website. So
I was actually looking. I was looking earlier. Okay, so we've got the background on yourself, and the important thing is, like dietitians, like personal trainers, like hairdressers, there are lots of life coaches around, but sometimes you will connect with one that talks your language, that there's something that just gels right with you. And how do you attract yourself to new people? When it comes to talking one-on-one with people, what do you find it is that makes that connection work best?
For me, let me firstly just differentiate a little, because I'm not a life coach.
Okay.
I don't offer life coaching at all, but I'm a mentor. I mentor because, as I said before, I've been through so many things, from being a teenage mother who, as a young 20-year-old, the father of the children died. It was actually 20 years ago. So doing all of that, going through very abusive relationships, going through redundancy, going through bankruptcy and almost losing a house. Every single time that I've had these difficult times in my life, I've had to learn some form of lesson in that adversity, in that really difficult space. And it was a combination of all of these, realizing how they tie together, that I realized that this wisdom that I have, that I share, I never would have got it if I didn't go through them. And so they are drawn to me, I guess, because I'm not just saying, oh, yeah, I can understand. Yeah, I understand. Oh, so sorry for you. But I physically remember going through that thing. I know the steps that I took, and I can actually teach you them now in a way that I know works. One of the things that was difficult for me, even though I did very well and I've always done very well in direct sales, was that I wasn't always guaranteed in my spirit that when someone came in and heard my story, that they were going to have success and it would eat me up. Like, I don't want to make money off other people's hope when I'm not even sure that you're going to make it. I know how much it takes to make it. It was eating me up. You probably covered that on your MLM thing, right? But I did well. I was raised in network marketing as a child. I've been doing it since I was 5. I gave it up. But when people came to me for my own stories and said, look, what you said you've gone through, I'm going through that now, and I want to talk to you about it, and being able to help them with all my heart, that's what really draws people to me. It's not learned in a course, so it's not always it's not always easy to give the information over in a way that you can apply right away, but I hold their hand and I'm proof that it works. You know, Wonderful. I've come from a council estate in London. Like, I'm living in something like a mansion in Spain. Like, it seems impossible. But when you've got steps, and you've got like the 13 steps to riches, and you've got the laws of success, and you've got spiritual laws that I teach, and I meditate and I teach neuroscience, and just I understand how everything works now. I think for a lot of people, it's inspiring in a way that moves you forward.
Most definitely. And that is the key thing, as you say. It's you aren't, because that's what I love about these conversations is, you know, there are more learned people than myself talking to much, you know, highly famous people around the world. But when you're talking on a one-to-one basis with people that we can all truly relate to, I think it really hits home a lot more. So yeah,
I wish that there was more of that out there.
I'm sure that people will be warm to you immediately. So let's draw our attention then to the procrastination. Finally, ironically,
finally,
let's have a very roundabout conversation about what you believe the main factors are that lead people, and it's going to be different for different people, isn't it? But how do people avoid it, and why is it dragging us down?
The reason it is pretty much dragging you down is because, you know, we have 2 currencies. We mentioned one. It's money. Money is the currency of this earth. This is how we trade our value. But the real true currency, the spiritual value and currency we have, is time. It's the only thing that we equally have. It's the only thing that we can all make something of ourselves with. It's time. And when you don't know how to master your thoughts, you will never be able to master your time, because you don't understand where to focus your thoughts with the time that you have. You don't organize your day. You don't prioritize what's important. You know, you do put off until tomorrow what you know you should be doing today, because there are people that just haven't understood the importance. So anything else can be important. What your boss wants is going to be more important. What your friends want is going to be more important. Anything will be more important in that moment than what you want when you haven't decided exactly what it is. But look at this scenario, right? When you put a value on something that leads you to your purpose, you'll act. So, for instance, I only learned to swim when I came to Spain, like about a couple of years ago. I was afraid to swim my whole life because when I was young, my dad pushed me into Lido. Like the Caribbean people, okay, they learned that when you put a child in water, they can swim. Some people say that, but not when they're 8, all right? So 8, and the Lido is cold. And that was just my whole experience of swimming. And so anytime when I was like, oh yeah, you know, I'm going to learn to swim and I'm going to do a swimming lesson and I'm going to book a swimming lesson and everything to do with swimming lesson, it's important. I need to know how to swim, but not important enough. I didn't put enough value on it that I need to do it right now. So what changed for me, instead of putting that off, was I had a conversation with someone, pretty much like how I'm with you right now. And they said, what if you had to do this to save your son's life? Now I've got a son. I imagine my son being near that pool, my husband being upstairs, the pool is quite far away. I can't do anything to save him but call my husband and wait, however long it takes for him to get in the water because I'm too afraid and I don't know what to do. That's enough of a push. No matter how scared I am, I don't want to procrastinate anymore. I needed a strong enough reason. Every time I've acted, I've needed a strong enough reason. So if you think about the thing that is most important to you now, right? The thing that you want to do, the thing that you're putting off. And you also think about someone that is really important to you, your loved one, your child, your grandchild, your spouse, your best friend. And this is a horrible visualization, I'm sorry, but it was one that was given to me that was going to give you the importance of it. But imagine someone had a gun up to their head. They're about to pull the trigger if you don't go and act. If you don't go and do that action now, they're going to pull the trigger, all because of your unwillingness to act. Wouldn't you act immediately? What else would be more important than you acting in that moment? You can see yourself doing the thing right away, right now. Nothing else is more important. And so that was just like, because you placed importance on it, now you have a reason to go do it. But why can't you do that anyway? Why couldn't you get up and turn off Netflix anyway? Why do I have to put a trigger to someone's that you love's head?
I was going to say that's a bit extreme, just to turn off the Hollywood wives.
It's horrible. But doesn't it show you how quickly your mind can change to a desire to do something? Mm-hmm. Your thoughts just switch in that moment. Nothing was more important. And I'm not saying that the things, there's always going to be things that are more important than each other. Health, for instance, may be important than making money or whatever it is. But if you want to make money and you begin to switch the way that you think about it, the value of it, of what it's going to bring to your life and the life of your loved ones, and just every aspect of your life that it's going to impact, if you would just switch your thought and take one action, then you would take the one action, just one action every day. Because it's just one action every day that's going to begin to build a habit for you that after a while is going to become your lifestyle. We don't even think about this. This is what outwitting the devil is about. 98% of people don't even think about what is that action or that habit is going to be. We run on autopilot and it's easy to persuade you to do anything because you have nothing else more important to do. Like when I was teen, I smoked for 10 years. I would get up, have a cigarette while I think about the first thing that I'm going to do. Have a cigarette, getting ready, have a cigarette, walking to the bus stop, have a cigarette, after you get up. Just thoughtlessly, just smoking all the time. But guess what? I didn't have money to smoke. I had to stop because I ran out of money. It became more important that I had food than cigarettes. There's always going to be something that you can find to trigger you if you're looking for it, to trigger you into the thing that you want to do. And I'm using extreme examples because I want you to seriously consider this. I could say la-di-da little things on this talk right now that don't cause you to think, that don't cause you to change. But for anyone that really wants to stop procrastinating over something and you place enough importance on it, today you'll change. Today you can think of one action and just do it only today. Swap one bad thing for one good thing just today, and then do it again tomorrow and again the next day. The things that are habitual now, they'll be replaced and you'll have the habits that you want to get you what you want. Everybody that I know with any ounce of success has done this and does this. So I'm hoping that you see that. I'm hoping that you see that and that you do that.
Wow. Even the way you're talking, it's very, it's like, I want to stop. I want to go and do something immediately. I haven't even got anything to do and I want to go and do it. Let me take a second and say our good friend Mark Wilkinson, who has inspired me immensely, has just left a comment on YouTube. Thank you for passing through, brother. I've learnt a lot from you, my friend, and I'm learning a hell of a lot here as well. Stuart Partridge is watching, and he's going to be looking to pick up the Think and Grow Rich as an audio book. And my friend Jeff Jefferson is here. Good evening, my friend. Are you still stateside? Who else did I see pass through? Stu Miller. He says, I'm sorry I'm late. I had 5 things that I've put off to do at the last minute. And I'll catch up.
And then you put up the 5 things to be here. That's good.
There you go.
It was that way.
Boom tish, he says.
Hilarious.
So sitting, listening to people share these words from a different position, a different place that one is in, sometimes can cause the person to say, yeah, it's easy enough for you to say. Some people are just so ingrained. Lazy is a horrible word to use. I don't like to use the word lazy, but some people just find it impossible to act on so many different things. So is there a general way that people can improve their whole outlook, their whole attitude towards life, and the importance of acting on things immediately?
Definitely. This comes back to the way we think, but it's about our mindset. Everything that we do, every act that we do or do not do is based on what we believe about that act and what we believe about ourselves. And it's usually reinforced by the people around us, by the things we watch, by the things we read, all of those things. They're reinforcing and helping you see, confirming the reality that you think is around you. If you think it's abundant and there's lots of opportunities, then there is. And if you think the opposite, there it isn't. And no one else can dissuade you of that, because that's what you believe. Okay. But I learned a really cool definition the other day, which was about mindset, the way that we think. And it said that mindset is a set of beliefs that help us to learn or change the things that we do. The mindset. And mindset can be changed, because mindset is your thought. It can be changed. I think where it becomes really difficult is where we think that it's going to change big and it's going to change overnight. That rarely happens. You have to have like
unrealistic expectations.
Yeah, you have to have like some huge situation to change overnight like that. But the things that help us change, once you're conscious that you want to make a change, you have to consciously find ways to change your mindset. So one of the first ways is to speak to people that already have the mindset that you want, or already have the outcome that you want, because the stories that they have bears more bigger emphasis than me reading off facts, or me that's not related to you saying all these things, and then you're like, yeah, fair enough, like, look at you, I understand that, okay. But someone that maybe you admire, like you watched that interview today, someone that you admire, or someone that's close to you in a position of success, in a position that's already done the thing, telling you their story of how they've done it, begins to impact the mindset. It begins to draw notions of challenging yourself, like, is what I believe actually true? Because this is not serving me. It's not bringing me closer to what I want. So is this belief that I have helping me to learn and change and grow in the direction that I want, or not? Because if it's not, and I'm feeling discomfort about what they're telling me it's possible, my mindset is saying, no. Maybe there's something more to this that I can tell myself to change these thoughts. So how you change your thoughts, luckily we're set up with this system within us where we tend to believe and to grow into what we think about most of the time. That is what you see, and that's what you grow into, what you think about most of the time. So you can begin to think opposite things. If I think to myself like I do like sometimes, or used to, I'm so unhealthy, gosh, I really ought to eat something more healthy, but yeah, maybe tomorrow I'm going to do that, tomorrow I'm going to go shopping, that kind of thing. That's not actually going to help me. But the mindset of, and it's quite fixed, of not doing that, but the mindset that allows me to change is, I'm going to write a shopping list right now, and I'm going to find a way to get these healthy things, or I'm going to clean out the cupboard right now. I'm going to get rid of everything that isn't serving me, that I don't want to have in my life. I'm going to do something right now, small thing. It will help you feel better about it. And as you begin to feel better, you can feed yourself more of the thoughts that help you to change. Napoleon Hill calls them auto-suggestions, or they can be affirmations, but affirmations, repeating to yourself different things, change your mindset and change your actions bit by bit, little bit by bit. You want to say something?
I did want to say something. Thank you for allowing me a little space. A friend of mine, when he saw that we were having this conversation, he directed me to an online talk that I caught a little bit of, and there was some science to the art of procrastination, saying that when we complete a task, it releases, you'll probably be able to...
The dopamine, I saw that
exactly.
comment. Yes.
Yeah, so you saw that. So you release it and it gives you a little pat on the back, and so you're in that positive cycle of you tick off something, you get the dopamine, in endorphin, whatever. So are you familiar with that, or did you just saw the comment that he'd made?
I saw the comment that he made, but it fits back into the neuroscience of all of this, of how the brain works, in that if it's a small thing, and they call it incremental alignment. If it's a small thing and it doesn't put you off, it doesn't make you feel overwhelmed, it doesn't repel you. So in the same way, much the same way, just doing small things, small actions, and most importantly, telling yourself morning when you wake up, that about the things that you want, or speaking to yourself of that main goal that you want to achieve, whether it's health or it's doing well in your business that day. But if you do that in the morning, it's going to set you up for the day. When you do it before you go to bed, it's going to help reprogram part of your mind they call the subconscious mind, which is where you're not consciously at the forefront of your mind thinking about stuff. That is really processed at night during your dreams. That's where everything gets put into the right place, whether it should be a memory or an action or some kind of crazy nightmare that's not quite sorted out and gives you symbols. This is when that's done. So if you think about what it is you want at night, you're more likely to program your subconscious to let go of some of the stuff that's not helping you and to be replaced by the things that will help you. You wake up feeling more positive in the morning, reinforce those same good things again, affirmations, auto-suggestions, I am getting better day by day in every way, things like that. I post them every Thursday, by the way, on my Facebook page, Thursday Thoughts, things that you can tell yourself that you are doing and who you are as an I am, and notice what happens for you. There is some clearing out to be done before this, but if you do this, it's going to bring you closer and give you more activity than if you didn't do it.
Well, we're talking about health here. My attention is drawn to some of the comments. Stuart says, "Great stuff so far, Sophie." He's just got Sophia. It is Stuart. You missed the beginning. It's Sophia. It's not Sophie.
It's Sophia, Stuart.
And
no
I
worries.
like the idea.
Like
I like the idea of speaking to people we already know who have good habits. In that spirit, I wonder if we could ask Andy about his mindset and how he avoids procrastination, since we've witnessed how on it he always seems to be. I did briefly mention earlier, Stu. I'm not sure if you joined us then. I'll tell you this story very quickly. I was approached by a very good friend of mine when I was in my early 20s. He actually came to me and asked me if he was setting up a new business and would I go into business with him. Now, this was a very successful guy who I held in high esteem, and I was blown away. I was like, wow. It was basically, he was inviting me along to a multi-level marketing seminar to sell water filters, actually, for NSA. But if he'd have just put it out like that, I probably would have said no. But off of the back of that, I started to go to a lot of the meetings. I bought a lot of stock. I was going out trying to sell water filters to people. Brilliant idea. It was just 20 years too early. Anyway, cut a long story short, because I really don't want to sit here talking all evening. I read a lot of books. I went to a lot of seminars. I listened to a lot of people who, like Sophia, fed me with positive energy. And then I even went as far as going home, talking to my mum and dad, asking them about what their plans for life are, where are they going with their life, what are they doing. I challenged my boss at work to give me a raise. I told him how
Wow.
this was where I met my wife. I told him how he could improve the business, how he could improve motivation of the staff, all of these kind of things. And a fire was lit underneath me, and I've never looked back since. Procrastination is one thing that I definitely don't suffer from.
Wow. I'm glad
I hope
Stuart
that
asked that question.
I hope that
Awesome.
answers the question,
Andy.
because I mean I am at some point, and this is actually, I'll tell a lie. I do procrastinate. I am going to start doing a series of one-on-one interview talks to the camera. I just feel uncomfortable doing it because I don't really want to do it, but I know there's a lot of people who would like me to do it, and I'm going to share more stories like that. So that is one thing I'm procrastinating about, but I have actually been nudged towards doing that a little bit more in recent times. So there you go.
It'll be fantastic.
Thank you very much for saying. Emily also says, mindset is a powerful thing. It took her 6 months to decide to do something about losing weight, even though she had hated the way she looked every day. Now, 6 months on, she's nearly lost 2 stone and is determined to maintain it. She's even thinking about the next challenge, which might take another 6 months. I wanted to talk
Wow.
about that. Congratulations to
Congratulations. That's
Emily.
fantastic.
She shared a photograph, actually, before and after photograph, 12 months apart, I believe, last Halloween, in the same outfit that she was slightly heavier last year than she is this year, and the difference was amazing to see. So congratulations to Emily.
Fantastic.
I want to focus on that, talking about health and diet, because I think one thing that most people will really relate to is people want to lose weight, people want to get fit. They know what needs to be done. Everybody knows you just got to eat less and move more. Everybody knows that. But something stops most people from doing it. Why? I'll go to you.
The desire is just not strong if you don't have a reason why. Anytime that I've lost weight, it's not a strong enough reason.
No, may I question that? Because I know people who really, really do want to lose weight, and they're just not motivated enough to do it. So are they kidding themselves?
It feels too big. But anytime that I've done it, because I have had this challenge with my weight, anytime that I've done it myself, I have some kind of accountability. So the first thing, is asking other people's stories about what they did. And we know the story, eat less and move more and so on. But anytime I've done it, it's because of this principle called a mastermind, having someone accountable that wants to walk with you along that goal. So what I do, for instance, now, this year I wanted to lose weight, and I started going to the working out every day. But I take a video of myself working out and I post it to my WhatsApp status every day with the number of the day and about how it felt. So I feel like if I don't do it, everyone's watching. So it's a little bit of that, keeping myself accountable. And then in the beginning, I asked who's with me. So people will kind of message me back and say, yeah, no, I'm doing it too. But another thing that I did or do, I guess it depends how chronic your illness is or your situation is at that time. So I can only, again, speak from my own experience, but I will usually buy a dress or an outfit in the size that I want to be. Mm-hmm. Not about so much the scales, because they go up and down, especially when you gain muscle and you think you've been working out really hard and you just put all this weight on. It can be so off-putting. But I do it, give myself a deadline, calculate pretty much the maths of how many calories I need to burn. It might not be the most effective way, but how much I should eat and how much I should burn. Do that every day. Know it's going to take me 3 months because, 1 stone is this many calories over time. And I've always hit it that way.
Well, isn't that what people do?
I don't know, but maybe it's my background in maths, but I usually just work it. I think it's 500 calories in a week is going to give you 1 pound, and then you just keep doing it.
Well, one of the
I don't
things
undereat, but I make sure I burn it. Yeah.
one of the things
Go
that
on.
really hit
Sorry.
home to me regarding nutrition, diet and nutrition, was the whole macronutrients, breaking it down, understanding the difference of what your body needs, the
Mm.
deficit, and so on and so forth, which comes back to the really important point that I was going to make, was you said about accountability, and also listening and talking to people who have done it before. If you get a dietitian, if you hire a dietitian, if you pay a personal trainer, they can show you the results. They can set out that roadmap for you that you need to follow. And if they break that down into small enough increments, the whole task doesn't look that good. But people have to have realistic expectations of how much they're trying to lose and when they want to lose it by, because unrealistic expectations just tear dreams apart, don't they?
Yeah, I think that's the key. Small enough steps, and also understanding, especially with something like weight, it takes years to go on. You may not notice, but it takes years of just a pound here and there, maybe a pound a month. But you have to allow yourself that it may take years. If you only want to do little bits at a time, it may take years, and that's okay. As long as you are progressively moving towards that worthy ideal, that picture of yourself that you want, then that's okay. Just like Emily said, last year I looked like this, today I'm like this, another 6 months, I know that I'm going to keep it up, and things may be better. Right now I'm working out to fit into a dress in November.
Okay,
In
what's the big
November, I'm on my
occasion?
way.
It's November now. What's the occasion?
Actually, it's the 8th of December, 8th of December, a wedding,
Okay. Well, yeah,
of
that's
which
one of
I'm a
the biggest
bridesmaid.
motivations for
Mm.
one of the biggest motivations for most women, isn't it? They will always get that wedding dress that's slightly too small that they know they're going to fit into, and they always do. Whatever happens after, that's another story. But
Whatever happens after is another story. I mean, I'm not perfect at this because, as I said, there's different areas of life, and there's always going to be something that is of more importance or less importance. Right now, that's what it is for me. I like at the moment reading, and I like working out, and there are other things that I'm really interested in, but there are other things that are falling by the wayside because that's how life is. It ebbs and flows, and you have to allow yourself that grace.
mhm.
Not everything is always on the up at the same time. There are things that you can't account for. Maybe everything in your whole life is going well, and then someone close to you dies, like, and it wipes you out. You just don't know what's going to happen. But the best you can do is work towards the life that you want every day, a little bit, day by day, and be
you
grateful that
you
you're able
said
to do
then
that.
you said then something that will be a lot of people will relate to. A lot of our friends I know will relate to this. Losing someone close to you. Many people, especially as we're getting older by the day, many of our friends are losing loved ones. They're losing family members, and it can have devastating effects. Some people learn to deal with this better than others. Some people, myself personally, I've used death in my life as a huge inspiration, as a huge motivational tool to push me on to achieve better things. Some of that is due to regret. Some of that is due to guilt. I've made that very clear. But I've still used it as motivation to. I've learned from those steps. Other people get stuck in a like a grief cycle. Do you have any expertise in allowing people to guide people out of that?
Out of grief. Um, I could say that the greatest grief, earlier grief for me, was when the children's father died unexpectedly when we were 25, because I had two little kids and I was young myself. So I didn't really understand what to do. To be honest, that really shut me down, the handling of it. So I could really understand now how it can just shut you down when things are going well. My work was going well and other things. And it was actually the trigger, much like yourself, that made me realize life can be short. No matter how much I'm working and things are going well, life could be taken away from me at any moment. I better be doing something that I enjoy with this life, because life could be too short to stay in this job that I hate or to stay in this body that I'm not happy with. So I think I started to question it then, and that's when I looked for that personal development seminar that I told you about. It was around the same time, because the children's father had died, didn't like my job, and I'm like, so how long are you going to stay in this job you hate then? You know.
So how long were
But
you at rock bottom? How long did it take you to have the strength to go and search out
it
answers?
I think it actually took over a year of growing in resentment for where I was. It wasn't my boss's fault that they were providing me work, but at the time they were the worst place in the world. Like, what am I doing here? And I went into work and I was just miserable and had a terrible attitude because I didn't want to be there anymore. So maybe over a year. And then I started to question, was this what I really wanted from life while I wasn't doing what I loved? Then I started to attract and meet people that were doing things and that were happy. And that's how I ended up at that seminar. This was a long time ago now, like 20 years. But more recently, in the pandemic, I lost someone that was very close to me. It was a girlfriend, and she was hugely inspirational for me. Very successful, very happy, in the things she was doing in business and so on. But she looked at my life as, you just got married, you just had this baby. There are so many things that you're doing that I haven't done yet. What are you waiting for, girl? You could be doing so much more. So when she passed, anytime that I got down after that, I really thought of her, like, if she was here, she would be taking more advantage of this. She would be more in gratitude for this. And I moved into that much more quickly, I think, with the mindset that I have now, that I can't really allow myself to stay low for too long, because I feel like she's watching me, I feel like she's there sometimes. And Napoleon Hill talks about having invisible counsel. In the end of his book, he has this chapter on the sixth sense, and he put together something like a boardroom of people that had passed away that he really admired. So he would have these boardroom discussions. He would ask, I don't know, let's say Jesus, for instance. He would ask him for, how will I be patient through this? Or how can I be kind through this? But he would ask everybody for their expertise on how he could get through the next thing. And I see my friends that have passed as somewhat invisible counsel for me at times, the qualities that they possess. And that helps me with the grief. It helps me move forward and make the most of my own life. It doesn't console you that they're gone, but it allows you to live a little for them and carry their memory with you. And just in doing that can help you to take the next step.
Yeah, that touched me. That did. Yeah, because I completely relate to that. I completely relate to that. Right. Wow. Where do we go from there? Still people commenting. My friend in China. Good evening, Martin. Neil Pinnock. Good evening. Brilliant. I mean, we're 60 minutes into this conversation now, and it's been very, very enlightening. I'm sure it's something that we could talk about, and I'd be quite happy to talk about all evening. But are there any important points that we would say to somebody right now who's watching this because they procrastinate? The first, and I think I did ask this earlier, let's just recap. The first immediate step that they can take to change their lives right now, would you say go online and buy a book, or search out Think and Grow Rich, a free PDF to read, or something like that doesn't cost money? What would you say?
You know what? The greatest things are free in life. I wouldn't say start with reading. I would start with thinking. So the thought that I want you to have to put aside 5-10 minutes for, in peace, when you know you're not going to be disturbed, and to really think about your life 5 or maybe even 10 years down the line. Imagine the perfect day. Think about where you're going to be living, what you see when you wake up, who is around you, what you do for a living, what you do in a day, what you wear, which country you're in. Think about every detail of what that thing is, your perfect, ideal day, how you would love your life to be. And then write it down, the thing that you most want from life. Imagine that nothing's impossible for right now, that it doesn't matter if you haven't got enough money or you haven't got enough time right now, just for now. Just really paint the picture of the thing that you want most in your heart. And then when you read that again, think about the small steps that you could take now to reach it. So if that person is super healthy and they go running every morning, maybe you could wake up 10 minutes early and do a 5-minute walk in the morning. If that person, has a successful business and that's what they're doing, or they're in their dream job and you're not in it yet, maybe you could investigate, what does it take to be in that job? What would it take to set up that business? What could I do now? Could I read books about my dream job? Could I speak to people in that type of business and apprentice with them? Think about it now. Life is too short, and you can start doing those small things, thinking about them and affirming to yourself, most importantly, every day, that in every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. And then follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Facebook, message me there. No,
Wonderful.
Seriously, do that, because that's where I inspire. All right.
Mm-hmm. I have followed a page because, okay, there's two parts to the comments I'm going to make now. The first statement was, I follow a page, the Law of Attraction, and every day it's a positive statement. It's like an inspirational, a meme, and it's really good. It's the same as the well, it isn't the same as, get your words out, Wardy. What's the word where you read your stars every day? What's that called?
Horoscope.
Your horoscope.
I have an app, a free app. It's called I Am. Okay. And every day on the hour, from when I wake up to when I go to bed, it sends me an I Am. So no matter what's going on, this little I Am thing pops up. Right now, it just said, I am creating a firm foundation for success. Like that. All the time. It just seems that they're just the right message on time, and you can keep that and repeat it to yourself.
Well, that's it. Your subconscious, or you keep reading these positive affirmation messages. It's got to be a good thing. It's like I was coming back about the horoscopes. You'll read into that whatever you want to read into, right? Let me just. So the other thing I was going to say was gone clean out of my head, so it doesn't matter. Let me read some comments. And then we'll start wrapping up, because I know
procrastination. Well, for procrastination, it's about thought. To be able to make decisions, you've got to know what you want. So do that exercise of visualization. See what it is you want. Move towards it every day, remembering it. And for me, that's the major thing that's always helped me in life. Seeing what it is that I'm moving towards.
Is it the same as a mood? Is it a mood board or a life board?
You can do a vision board. Actually, every January I do an exercise called the Millionaire Money Plan with a group of women, and we end up with a vision video. So everything, I give them £1 million pounds or dollars, whatever, in some way every January, and they figure out exactly what they want to do with money as no object. And so at the end of that, all the things that they would want without this restriction, debts paid off and all that kind of thing, we do a video about that, and they watch that every day, and mostly they get what they want.
Incredible. People definitely need to contact you. I'm aware that the husband and the whirlwind of the sun is going to be
downstairs being quiet right now.
Oh, bless.
Just let them come in.
Well, I shan't keep you any longer. Let me just read this message, because as you were saying about life is being short, Lynn says, life is short. Focusing on doing what feels right for you and those you love is everything. Being successful to me is feeling satisfied and having gratitude for the life I have. I'm not always striving for something else. Definitely living, talking about herself and her husband, definitely living our best lives for those who cannot. That is everything to me too.
That's beautiful. And yeah,
it is beautiful.
I really resonate with that.
Lynn was my fantastic guest last week on the show as well. Prue, good evening. She says, visualization and action. I have to keep being reminded. Thank you very much. And there's a lot of thanks and praise. A lot of comments and questions were made on the thread that you'll be able to go back and check out when you have a moment. Like I say, I really would love sitting talking to you all evening, but I'm aware that the time is dragging on, and tea time beckons, I'm sure. Is it tea for you? tea or dinner?
bedtime right now for the little one. Yeah, 8 o'clock here in Spain.
Wonderful.
Oh, I
Okay,
hear you,
Sophia.
Oliver.
Yeah. Does he
He's
want to
saying
come and say
yes
hello?
downstairs.
Does he want to come and say hello to everyone?
Come and say
Tell us,
goodnight. I'm finishing on this live now. Come upstairs. Come and say bye to everyone. You've been such a
tell
good
us,
boy.
tell us the story that you told me earlier when we were doing a quick tech test about your husband
He's
and you
running
were doing a
upstairs.
Zoom call.
I have to take these out then, otherwise he won't hear you. Oliver, come! I'm calling him right now. I'm calling him. Daddy's saying no, you can't come up.
Okay. Do you want to tell us about Daddy?
Yeah, off my AirPods.
Oh, I don't think she can hear me now.
Come. Hey, little one. Don't cry. Look, come. They asked for you to come and say
Shy.
hello because I talked about you. Oh, but he's crying. Sorry.
Hello.
You can cry. Everybody's watching you now. Oh,
Hello.
sorry.
Oh no, he's shy.
He's sad now. He got told off by Daddy for running upstairs.
And then, but now we have to have a reenactment of Daddy crawling along the floor underneath.
Daddy crawling on the floor is not going to happen today. What happened? I was saying to Andy that I did a live training the other night, but my husband was downstairs and didn't know I'm upstairs, so he'd gone to do something in his underwear before the call, and we just saw him at the back there, just the bottom, just crawling around the back, trying to be out of Zoom, but just the bottom.
Wonderful, fantastic.
Yeah. We didn't have that today, but I'm sorry you're crying, sweetheart.
Okay, well, listen, I will leave you to your evening, Sophia. Thank you so much. It's been truly soul enriching. I'll say goodbye to everyone now. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Let's say bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Reluctant bye. See you later. Take care.
Bye.
Oh, it's gone. Right. Okay. How fantastic was that? I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Let me read back some of these comments, everybody. Lynn says, an amazing woman. Thank you so much, Sophia and myself. He missed Mummy. Lisa, with us from the beginning to the end. Thank you very much. And all of the comments are coming in. Mr. Malcolm Wheelove, sorry, my friend, I didn't see you there. Or I think I did earlier, and it's gone clean out of my head. How are you, brother? Yeah, I shan't reflect on that conversation because we've just spent 60 minutes covering it. Really, really great. Definitely a lot of food for thought there. I know one or two of you are king and queen procrastinators, so maybe you will start to take steps to put that right. On the screen here, you can see my conversation next week is life after addiction, how it's possible and why it's essential. One of my friend who's been commenting throughout this evening, Mr. Stuart Partridge, is someone that I have known for 30 plus years. Actually, you know what? Earlier on, when I was talking about that conversation, saying it was 20 odd years ago that I got into network marketing, it was 30 years ago, not 20 years ago. I moved to Spain 20 years ago. Anyway, that's by the by. Stuart Partridge is going to be with me next week telling me about how he got to the point where he needed to turn his back on drink and drugs. And we'll be talking about how he's achieved that. And we're also going to be joined by one other person as well. So that's going to be next week, but it's going to be at this time, kicking off at 7 o'clock your time in the UK. Using Restream, we broadcast to my personal profile. We also broadcast to the Inspire and Be Inspired page. Now, depending on which you were watching, you may have been able to see some comments. You may have not read any comments because most of the comments, I think, may have been on my own profile. But do head on over to Inspire and Be Inspired, the official page on Facebook, and like the page. You can share any of the videos, and you can also go and check me out on YouTube and subscribe if you haven't yet subscribed. About 70 people away from having 1,000 subscribers. It's free to subscribe. I'm not even sure what is going to happen when I get to 1,000, but it's a nice little goal I've set myself. I'd love to see if I can do it before the new year. Right, so Everyone is saying thank you, thank you, thank you. Malcolm, keep it up. I will indeed. I will leave it there. Thank you to all of the Access members who are with me along every step of this journey. You can see all of the logos that have been flashing up throughout. And also, when I finish the stream tonight, we will have a roll call of all of the crew. And starting this Saturday morning, I'm going to be doing a live Zoom call for anybody that cares to join me. We're going to be talking about, I'll be giving you some tips on how to get all your live streaming set up. I'll be answering any questions that you may have, whether it's about DJing, whether it's about equipment, anything. It's just going to, I've called it the Saturday Morning Coffee Club. I'm going to jump on just after school finishes on Jazz FM and just before the Brother C begins on Pressure. So that's going to be Saturday morning, 9 o'clock, just a little 60-minute hangout for us via Zoom. You don't even need to be on the camera, but it will be live, so you can ask me any questions and I'll talk you through anything that you need. That's my little bit of motivation for this week. Another idea that came to me this morning, I've put it into action, and it's going to be happening, even if it's just myself and Emily and me talking her through OBS and showing her some tips and tricks on the controller. Right, let me have a look. Great chat, we'll be listening back. Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Nunny. Martin, sorry I missed you today. Obviously, I was out having lunch with my mum. We will definitely have a conversation. Amy, yes, Saturday morning, 9 o'clock. And drop me a message and I'll send you a link on how you can get that. It's open to everybody. Only people who are in my Access crew will have received an invite for that, but it is going to be open to everybody, so I will share a link on Saturday morning. Okay, I've spoken way too much. I've taken up too much of your time. Please don't forget, if you haven't yet subscribed to me on YouTube, head on over and subscribe and be good to yourself. Thank you again to Sophia. Really thoroughly enjoyed that. Amazing pearls of wisdom. Thank you, guys. Take care.